Happening in today's cultural atlas, he is one of the most popular saints in the state of New Mexico. And the National Hispanic Cultural Center is celebrating the story of San Isidro with a striking exhibition of retablos, sculptures, and even children's art. Take a look.
San Isidro is really interesting because he is a patron saint of farmers. He's a patron saint of laborers, and he is a patron saint of Madrid, Spain. He was a Spanish man who worked for a large land baron, and he was always praying. And so the story goes, he was always praying, and his co-workers got a little upset because they thought he was really lazy, and they complained to his boss about his job and how he wasn't doing his job. But when his boss went to go check on him, he found out that all the work was done, and it was like as if 2 or 3 people had been doing the work. And that's because, as the story goes about San Isidro, an angel was sent by God to help him plow the fields, so to allow San Isidro to pray, and the angel would plow the fields and do all the work with the oxen. Right now there's such a resurgence in farmers market, in farm to table, in organics, in Earth. It was around Earth Day. We thought it would be a really great idea to show the patron saint of farmers, and not always the elite saints, but somebody who's like an everyday working, relatable guy. And he's very, very, very popular in New Mexico still, especially here in the South Valley. There's a direct connection to Spain through Diego de Vargas, who came up here after the Pueblo revolt of 1680. He came back with colonists to stay here in New Mexico, and it was his ancestor who San Isidro worked for in Spain, going back a few centuries. So there's really a direct connection. He's very popular in the Americas because it was a very rural society. So in Latin America and South America, Mexico and New Mexico, the colonies of Spain, they were very rural at the time. And so as he becomes a saint, he comes over from Spain and becomes very, very popular. There are a number of churches named for San Isidro, one in Agua Fria up in Santa Fe, one in Corrales. And there are lots of communities, including our own South Valley, that still on San Isidro Day, which is May 15th, they process the saint to bless the gardens and the acequias and the fields and even the garden tools. And it's also very important to mention that his wife, who's not a saint, but on her first step to sainthood, is called Santa Maria de la Cabeza, and she plays an important role in the story as well. So we have some works that feature her too. We have over 60 pieces in the exhibit, and we have some by very well-known artists and some by first-time artists. First-time artists who may be in Spanish market but have never shown their works in a museum before. So it's a really neat mix. We also have kid artists, and there's some great pieces, and there's a very personal connection to him. And some people do a joke and bring him in the contemporary world, like he's on a tractor, and others show the oxen playing. And even when you just look at the oxen are hard to do. Oxen are hard to carve, and every piece has its own personality. With the oxen, with the angel, with San Isidro, what he's wearing. Sometimes he's wearing colonial clothes, and sometimes he's wearing blue jeans. So he's really relatable and really fun. We're really excited about this show. Very often our artists in New Mexico get sort of typecast as doing folk art or Spanish arts, but when you come in, you have the luxury of looking at one image of San Isidro and seeing how the artists do it in so many different ways. I think it's really interesting, and you end up learning a lot, not only about techniques and the artists that we have, because we have so many great artists in New Mexico, but also how somebody can depict the same image in so many different ways.
And while you're out and about, be sure to stop by the Coronado Historic Site and the Anderson Abruzzo Albuquerque International Balloon Museum.
This exhibition closes on November 5th, so you only have a few days to catch it before it's gone. For more information, head over to foxnewmexico.com.